Sergio, my friend, I'm so happy that you are here. I was looking forward to this conversation. I know you now already, I think, my whole life. I know it's not true, but already quite a long time. Years ago, I saw you in Billund. You
Yes.
did a presentation, and I thought, you were a scout, and I was a scout, and we did NLP, and you call it PNL. And I thought, wow, there's chemistry here. So I walked up to you, and I saw in your face that you go like, what's this? But then years later, we worked together in Turkey, and we went all over the world. And now I'm so glad that you are here with me. So I know you, but my listeners have no clue who you are. Could you tell, before we do a deep dive in questions and things that you need to know as facilitator, could you tell us a little bit about you, who you are, and what you do?
Yes, of course. But first of all, let me just thank you for having me here. I was like reflecting on while coming to the conversation on how happy I was feeling, but also like this sense of pride, but not for myself, but for the friends I have. And I was like, hey, it's so good to have these amazing. I can find a best word to say this. Awesome would be a word that you would use. But these awesome friendships that I have, and I feel like really happy. And I was thinking when you said, "Hey, please have a small introduction on it," that maybe our relationship could speak a little bit on who am I and also how we connected. Okay, I am originally an industrial engineer. I live in Mexico, in central Mexico, like 3 hours from Mexico City. And yes, we met in Billund. I was presenting at the LSP World Meeting on a project I had on urban forestry. And then came this crazy Dutch on orange clothes and orange glasses asking me if I wasn't a scout. And I was thinking, hey, this guy has some powers because I was not at the moment, but I've been involved in scouting for a lot of years. And that brought us a little together. Then we found out that we both did an LP, that we both studied with Robert Dilts, and maybe among some others that we have not discovered yet. Yeah. Um, and then you made a bet on me, not knowing me, but you invited me to participate on a project with with WASM, the World Office of the Scouting Movement, on training consultants, training the trainers for consultants. And then we went to Istanbul, and later we made a small LSP training on LSP and NLP in Nijmegen in Netherlands. And then we went to Germany, and it's been quite an adventure. And all of the time I end up thinking on, hey, every time I conversate with Martijn, I really, truly grow. And I learned things that I wasn't expecting. So today, and connecting this a little bit with the question thing, I'm asking myself, hey, what am I going to learn today with, and what am I going to learn from Martijn? And I have no idea what I'm going to learn, but I also have no doubt that I will, and I'm eager to explore it. And what I do for a living is NLP, Lego Serious Play, coaching, training. I also do give some classes of Kung Fu. Actually, today I gave my Saturday morning class, which was quite exhausting. It was nice. And I think that's it. Also, maybe another thing that the last time we saw each other physically, we met in Amsterdam, where I was celebrating my 20th anniversary of wedding with Ophelia, and we went there to have a very beautiful dinner with Kim and you, which I truly appreciate. So thank you for having me again.
Well, thank you for being my friend. Hey, you would tell us today a little bit about questions. We did it together a few times, and you had this whole workshop with, I would say, a torch, a spotlight that helped. I saw so many facilitators and consultants in the WASM, but I can imagine outside that as well. I use it now in my training as well very often. But could you enlighten us a little bit how that came about and why you work so hard on questions?
Yeah. Maybe I'm going to start with why. I think, and I truly believe, and I believe that most, I don't know if I'm going to be like like, I don't know if that's a strong phrase to say, but I think that almost, let's phrase it that way, almost every great facilitator think and deeply believe that there is wisdom and there is, as could say, a genius inside participants in the individual level and also in the collective level.
Yeah.
So from time to time, we dare to share some knowledge that we have, but most of the time we bet on the knowledge that is in front of us. And the best way to go to that place, at least for me, is making questions. And could be on a coaching setting, on a training setting, or on LSP or LSP Agile or LSP and NLP. It's like as we mentioned a few minutes ago. It's like this attitude of Robert Dilts when he's listening to somebody and then saying, "Hey, that's interesting." So it's like this attitude of, at the same time, a deep curiosity and a deep respect for the other, for the individual or for the team. So I think that kinds of answers why asking questions. Or as when LSP came about and they say, hey, we want something that could make people lean in instead of going back the meeting and get involved, unlock new knowledge, and also break habitual thinking. So questions are like this. I don't know, like making somebody itch a little or move. Some of them are not comfortable, but they make go and lean. They make unlock things that they didn't know they already knew.
Yeah,
and also change the trail or the track where their mind habitually goes and go in some other way.
Yeah, it's nice how you almost you want to go. I also want to go forward when you say this. So Lego Serious Play has this very lean in, baked in. I would say it goes automatically, but with these questions, you even get leaned in more. I would almost say. And what I really like on what you say is what one of my mentors once said. Is that when in questions starts to rub a little bit, when somebody gets this like maybe not that nice itch or this like this moment that it gets inconvenient, almost the inconvenient truth. He said, Martijn, then you are on the good way, because if they wouldn't care, it is not important. So when you as facilitator, it doesn't mean that you have to agonize them, but when you be able to ask questions that they need to think, that they need to elaborate on, when they go like, oh, I don't want to answer it, or that kind of feeling, it also means, so if you get a little resistance, it also means that apparently it's important for them. And that is, for me, that was such a nice way to think about it when you're there.
I think it's an amazing way to say it. It is almost cliche in our business to say, "Hey, questions are more important than answers."
Yes.
And yes, and they
and what
they are more important than answers when they lead to great answers. I mean, how do you know that a question is a great question? It totally depends on the answer you get.
Yeah.
And most of those amazing answers come from that inconvenience you said, or from this moment of silence and saying, hey, I don't know, but wait, I know a little, and hey, let my hands express and let me put some Legos together. And hey, I didn't know that I already knew it. But it's like a beautiful process instead of answering them right away on hey, what's your name? Sergio. I don't have to think about it. But what does your name mean to you? Oh, let me take a few seconds and think a little bit on it, and maybe that question is a little bit more interesting than just my name.
Yeah.
And but first of all, you started going to the torchlight, to the
the torchlight, the different questions before we get to like the big question melting down, and how does that
to the flashlight? I truly don't remember where I got that idea from. I believe it was in one of the coaching certifications that I eventually took. But the main idea is questions are flashlights. In which sense? They put light on experience, and could be outward experience or inner experience, and could be on the past and the future or whatever, but they put some light on part of it. And the difference between a flashlight and a lamp, or public illumination, is that a lamp or public illumination tend or would want to put light on a lot of things, and as many things as possible. But a flashlight, it is not a laser, which would be quite different, but a flashlight gives a spot where the light, it sounds almost new age, but the light of consciousness goes to that part. So we as facilitator should be at the same time careful, creative, and conscious on where do we want the light, the spotlight to be put. As Corti said, and that idea that was, and please everybody who's seeing this conversation, go to the Cortis one with Martijn. It was amazing, which I haven't met that guy, but his energy was blowing my mind, and so many great ideas came out of it. But he was saying a nice definition of facilitator, which, if I remember well, it was like the steward of the collective genius in the room.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm just a steward, a guide. I'm just there to facilitate. To let that genius come out. It's like with the diamond of LSP, that we have the diamond for individual model, shared model, mapping, system. But the metaphor behind it is that the sparkle is already inside the diamond. You just need to bring the correct facets on it. And I think that is also with the spotlight. It helps you create that new facet, that new insight, because beautiful. You focus, and not like a laser pointing focus, but you focus on an area. And
and on which facet of the diamond would I want to put some consciousness and reflection?
And that is what we do, right? With Lego Series Play, what we want to do is elicit new insights so they get answers on questions that were not answered before.
Beautiful. And you ended beautifully. Questions that have not been answered before. And I met some LSP models around questions, preparing for this conversation.
Yes.
I'm thinking some kind of questions or some kinds of discriminations that have been very useful for me. And first is the flashlight, and then this contrast with the laser thing, the flashlight, and the lamp. And first, I have, I don't know if it's going to be...
perfect.
Here. Okay.
Cool.
Here's this guy on a nice sofa with a flashlight here.
Yeah.
and a trophy. And he is, or she is quite comfortable, right? And the sofa and the trophy and all this is in this black surface. So this means some kind of questions that I call them recovery questions. So what would be a recovery question? It's a question that the person that answers it already knows the answer beforehand.
Yeah.
So imagine that I haven't met you before and I ask you, hey, Martijn, are you married? That's some information that you already have.
Yeah.
So that could be kind of a recovery question. And it's not like that uncomfortable. You don't have to reflect, I hope. So the prize, the answer is already here and at a very, it's easily seen. Yeah. And so these are very easy questions to answer. And most of the time, when we are focused on that kind of question, we do not see this black surface, which here means what I don't know. I am not seeing that area of not knowing, but I'm seeing the area of the things that I already know. And if the questions are these kind of recovery questions, yes, they are comfortable, but we do not learn a lot. We do not reflect. Mm-hmm. So this is like first extension. And on the other hand, which is my right one, we have the discovery questions. So these were recovery, these are discovery. So this is a beautiful yellow plane flying through this also dark zone with this motor behind. And the guy here is not seated, it is standing. And it is not only standing, but it is like seen to the front, which if you see it, it is a nice metaphor because it is quite a risky position.
Yes, it is.
I mean, flying on top of a plane and then going that way requires maybe
scary
skill and bravery, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But they take you to places that you didn't know.
Yeah.
And you dare to see things that you hadn't seen before. So for me as a facilitator, these are the most beautiful questions to ask. Those that make you go or make the team go to places that they haven't gone before, or as you said it beautifully, answer those questions that were not answered before. Makes any sense?
Very, very. Yeah. I like that spotlight, and he's leaning forward and looking into also the unknown. And I like the movement on it as well, that there is like this fourth dimension. What I always advocate on Lego Series Play. It's so much more than just playing with Lego.
It is.
And this fourth dimension that there is movement and time is awesome. And I like that also the contrast with it.
Yeah.
From recovery and discovery.
So here, this first distinction, what I think would be nice reflection for us as facilitators, and it doesn't matter if we are beginning on this art or on this craft, or if we have years of experience, is, am I putting the light on things that the team and the individual haven't answered already? Or am I going to places where, yes, it's so much more comfortable, but they are not going to learn a lot?
Yeah.
So I think that's like one of the first distinctions that I find useful. And when I say, okay, let's be braves and go and ask some questions that move people and make them feel a little bit this inconvenience you said.
Yeah.
And I was thinking on three categories also that I found very useful, and I think that maybe to the people that are seeing us would be. And here is another model. And these are like subdivisions of discovery questions, right?
Cool.
Okay, I don't know. Here is, let me focus. Okay, here is this guy without a head.
Yeah.
Because his head is right in the middle,
Inside. Yeah.
yeah, of the beautiful crystal minds of inner experience.
Mm.
So these are reflection questions that take you inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that make you stop and think a little bit. And how do you know that you're making one of this? Because people say, let me think.
Yeah.
On a typical coaching session, that would be those that just, hey, I don't know, let me think about it. And in LSP would be one of those that you as a facilitator would say, hey, please do not have a meeting with yourself and go and use your hand intelligence and start moving, not only reflecting, but move a little bit and find what your hands already know, right?
Yeah. Well, I think indeed the good questions as a facilitator before building are these, but this is also a great question to ask when they build, to get that deepening, to get that insight for themselves. And what I like is that what you say is also elicit and create time to think about it. Give them the space and hold the space that it is okay not to straight away have an answer. And so sometimes you are with Lego doing a recovery question like, hey, where's that brown brick for? And they probably know straight away. But then you could also ask a more holistic question on that model. Why is this important?
How
Or
do
how
that
does
relate to whatever,
yeah.
to your values, to your goals,
Yeah, and
to your
then
people?
the new thinking starts. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a good moment also to. I was thinking on question around reflections, learnings, values, beliefs, meanings. All of those questions take you to the beautiful inner minds
Yeah.
of deep experience.
And that's, is it then also, sorry that I interrupt, Sergio.
No, go.
Is it then also like the people that do with LSP Agile, their training, they get an e-learning and there they explain the logical levels of DILT. Are you then lifting up the questions to a higher level?
Totally. Here you touch values, you touch beliefs, you touch identity. And I don't know, maybe if the setting is right, we could start touching mission and super system
Yeah.
and
Cool.
like the heritage you want to leave. But and going on that way of thinking, Robert and Per, our friends from the Master Training Association, use this phrase that it's a catchy one, and they usually ask, "Is the question sufficiently unclear?"
Yeah.
And it's a nice way to frame it, because here what we want is a lot of possible different answers.
Yeah.
And if we are like totally clear, laser focused, what we do is we restrict the number of possible answers. So one of the things I have learned is that from time to time, it's very good to make these maybe not the broadest questions, but sufficiently broad, sufficiently unclear to be understood in so many different ways that enrich the table and the people around it.
And that's also what you say about the light bulb in the room that lights up the whole room, from laser focused question, what is probably also a recovery then, because it's too pointy and you want to use the flashlight. Sufficiently unclear enough, vague enough to make your own, I always say.
That's
it.
It would
vague
be like
enough
those.
to give it your own answer.
Nice. For those that have studied a little of NLP, would be those kind of questions that would make that Milton Erickson would love.
Yeah. There's a lot of Milton language in a good LSP facilitator.
I know. And here, one of the things that maybe would be like a very useful tip that one that listening to us would take from this conversation is I've seen a lot of facilitators making questions that start with like, hey, what's the most or what's the least? And those are laser focused questions.
Yeah.
So maybe a little tweak and say, what's one of the most important learnings that you take
Or
from
what is
this?
one of the most, and then
Yeah.
the assumption that there's more than one is already there.
Yeah, and do not make you, hey, is this one the most valuable thing or is the second one? And while you are deciding and ranking them, you are going to another process, not the process of going in and finding answers.
Yeah.
Maybe later when you map, as you do in LSP Agile, you could map and rank, hey, this is the most of this, and this is the second most important, and this. But first, open like more broad spaces.
Yeah.
So first set of questions would be then like reflection questions, going in.
Yeah.
Then going out, which be action oriented. So here you find a nice guy walking in nature,
Yeah.
with his beautiful backpack.
Wow.
Full of
backpack.
full of tools.
Yeah.
And even a ladder on his hands.
Cool.
Yep. So these questions, go around on, hey, that's beautiful. I'm very happy that you have learned all that you're reflecting on this. And what are you going to do?
Make it actionable.
Yes. Yeah. With whom? When? What could you do that's different from what you have already done?
Yeah.
What are you going to dare to do after today's meeting? And those kind of questions that, hey, take you to the wild, take you to action. And maybe you have to take your ladder and walk by some obstacles and find some beautiful things that are not inside, but outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are those kind of questions that make you walk, that make you move?
Yeah. Get you into action. Awesome.
Yeah. And I think that both of them are like a quite beautiful yin yang, quite beautiful balance.
Yeah.
Because some of us are too action oriented,
and
some of us are like too reflection oriented. And finding this nice balance on, hey, do some action, go and change things, and then reflect around, and then use that reflection to act again and make a nice loop between these two would be, I think, a very nice strategy.
In general, if you think as facilitator, find this, how would you say, this seesaw of this is true and this is true. Sometimes you can be very solution focused. What would be the good solution? But you could also focus on what is the problem. There's the possibility of what is inside control or what is outside control. And both are reality. There is a part in life that is inside your control. There is a part that's outside your control.
Yeah.
And I think as facilitator, it is also to look where does the other stand from a natural way. And you maybe have to help and guide almost, like a not a facilitator, but how did Curtis call it? Like an attendant to help them.
Yeah, the steward
to the other side as well.
Nice.
They hire you for that, right?
Yes. And maybe these are not as separated as I showed them before.
Exactly. Yeah.
Action and reflection go hand by hand.
Yeah.
But there is still another distinction that I find quite useful, and it is here. And as you have seen, all of them are kind of greenish, like go into this fertile soil full of life. So
Nice.
first here, I have also a headless guy
Yeah.
with an ancient spear. Yep. And a flag with a planet, I think, and things like around space exploration. Yeah. His head, yes,
It's upside down.
is upside down. So he's seeing things on a way he hasn't seen before. And this is also a vehicle with some wheels, because this kind of questions, what I'm going to explain a little bit more deeper in a few seconds. If the first one take you in, the second ones take you out, these ones takes you somewhere else. Yep. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
See things on a way that you haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Yep. And here is a nice
what would be an example question of that to take?
Give me a second, because
sorry, I'm just curious.
At least I'm going to give two set of different questions around it. But here you could find a bunch of beautiful heads.
Yeah.
Like this monster and a king and maybe a witch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which could be available heads around. And what could you do if you could use someone else's head? What could you perceive?
Wow. Yeah.
Maybe from your competitors, or maybe from your boss or your leader, or maybe from a wise woman around you, or maybe from your own past.
Yeah.
Like an ancient spear, or maybe from the distant future. So these are questions that change perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. So if I ask someone, hey, what would you at age 12 would be very proud of you at age 50?
Yeah.
That changed the perspective.
Straight away.
Yeah. And then you go to another place. Or how important is this going to be for your business development within 5 years? And then you go to the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or how are your competitors dealing with this same obstacle?
True.
And all of it.
I like that one too.
It's like a question you made for everybody. We had a meeting, Martijn and I, and some other friend of LSP, Paolo from Italy, last week. And we were saying, hey, from a project that we're making together, should we go base level, or should we go to the strategy level, top level in NSO, in organizations that help the world to be better? And we were discussing this. And suddenly you made a spot and said, hey, that's very nice, but what makes us truly unique, truly different? What are our skills, values? What can we put together that's different from everybody else? And we were so focused on, hey, bottom and top, and suddenly you put the question that what made us put our head upside down and start seeing things that we hadn't seen before. So those questions lead from time to time to amazing learnings. That's what we're there for. And one thing that they also give is they increase something that I think it's quite useful nowadays. They increase empathy. When I say, hey, how does your colleague in sales or in the production area or in the cleaning staff sees that, or how's your boss dealing with this, and what their fears and goals and aspirations, and they suddenly take you out from where you are and take you somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I would say those three set of questions, the ones that take you in, reflections, the one that takes you out, action oriented, and these ones that take you somewhere else,
Yeah.
perspective shifters,
Yeah.
are at least a set that would be very, very nice to master as facilitators.
I think they are vital for our work.
Yeah.
And as you in this last part, taking that from a different perspective, I think Lego is a very natural way to do that. But I also emphasize it and make it maybe a little bit more powerful, like you just suggested. Create these questions as a facilitator as well. Think about it. And I liked that question, what you said. Hey, how would you look if you're maybe, I don't know, 85 and you would look back to it? What if everything would work? How would it look then?
What if nothing works? What would you learn about it? How would you deal with that?
Yeah, or how would your 12-year-old deal with this stuff? How would you deal with it if you were 1 week before your retirement? And it helps people so much to get all the time that different view. And I think Lego is super sensory rich. I think we use all the senses that we have, and at the same time, it is on us to guide, to facilitate, to usher people to get their collective geniuses out. And I think that is what we do.
Nice. I think we have an amazing tool for enriching the map, for increasing the distinctions of our inner and outer experience. And Lego by itself, it's a beautiful, colorful 3D or even 4D tool. And when we question our own questions, I think it not only becomes a nice tool, but could lead from time to time to wisdom, to have a very beautiful coffee with the genius that's inside us, and learn from it, and maybe become amazed on saying, hey, I didn't know that I was that wise, or I didn't know that this team.
Nobody told me. Nobody told me that I'm that wise.
Not even myself. I mean, and I can bet that it has happened to you and to many of the people that would see this conversation, that you say something in a group, and then you say, hey, I am not that intelligent, I am not that wise, but something happened inside of me, and I became like an instrument of, at least for a few seconds,
of the collective geniuses in the room. And
an instrument for the geniuses.
I think that is true. What I noticed very often, and then we're gonna wrap it up. But I notice very often that I like that saying from Curtis, and you liked it straight away too. I know that collective genius, create that collective geniuses in the room, because I think if we do Lego series play, everybody is more than his own, and it's also more than the sum of the people that are in the room.
Yeah,
and it triggers that, and that's for me something that I would say to all facilitators. It's awesome to create that. But for you, what would be the last words? Otherwise, people cannot sleep good tonight. What is something you want to give to the people? Say, this is my last piece of wisdom. And
I think asking a question would be a nice way to end this conversation. And I was thinking on, hey, which question should I make to myself, ask myself, in the line of what we have shared together. And I was thinking, hey, what could I do to see even clearer the genius in the room? And maybe even before starting a workshop, before telling them, hey, put your pieces out and make a tower, it's what can I do? How can I frame this setting to start right away, seeing the genius that live inside every one of my participants and the collective genius that they form together, or that we form together from time to time.
That's beautiful, Sergio. Thank you so much for this talk, and I hope you come back soon.
Ooh, I will. I even will be bothering you and make some laser point questions on the sort of, hey, when do you invite me again?
Thank you so much.